Peter Dinklage, absolutely playing this like so serious because he's such a serious actor. He's so able to like drop in and just be like so sensitive and so sweet, even though he's like way in over his head most of the time, but he's still got to do it anyway. I think that's the beauty of this Avenger, right? Is that he's the epitome of courage, because courage is not the absence of fear, it's having fear and just doing it anyway. And that's what he's, getting to do through this whole movie.
Welcome to Horror Movie Survival Guide, Disco Citizens, the podcast where gorehounds
and best friends Terry Gamble
and Julia Marchesi break down a different horror movie each week,
exploring a multitude of genres, subgenres,
and sub-subgenres,
classic and cult,
international
and underground flicks alike, determining which films are the goriest,
and offering up Horror Movie Survival Guide tips to help you
stay alive. Oh my gosh. Hello, Disco Citizens. We are back for another fine, fabulous episode. An epic one today. Oh my goodness. Julia, tell the kids. Tell the kids. What are we covering today?
We are covering 2025's The Toxic Avenger. The title for this episode is I Also Like to Scream. Tagline for the movie is The Hero We Need Now. This was written, the original, by Lloyd Kaufman, and then it was adapted for the new one by Joy Ritter and Macon Blair, who also directs.
We love you, Macon Blair. Come be on the show. This is my direct invitation to you. We love you. We've covered a lot of your films. We love you. I got to meet you at Sundance. Fred, you don't live at home in this world anymore. So good. And I just saw a career retrospective with Melanie Linsky this summer, and like her talking about that time and everything. Anyway, it just made my heart full, and I would love to talk with you more about it. Anyway.
Agreed. Mm-hmm. Terry and I both got to see I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore at Sundance in 2017. And it was the first movie I saw, the first time I've been to Sundance, the first movie I saw straight out the gate. And I was like, holy fucking shit, this is going to be fucking amazing. And because the movie's so good, and Melanie Linsky was there and Elijah Wood was there. And then every other movie I saw in Sundance completely paled to that one. And that was the movie that I was being like, you have to go see I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore, which won the jury award for, I like to say. So the taste is good.
You picked the good one.
I've done it twice because also I did Sundance virtually when Summer of Soul was in it. And I was like, fucking Summer of Soul, gotta win that. And totally did. And I was like, 2 for 2.
Julia.
But if you haven't seen, I Don't Feel
those movies have heart.
They
have heart. There's something about them. They're they got a serious drive, and the subject matter feels good. And it just like the timing of each one of them was actually right too. So let's go.
Yeah, so I mean, we have talked about the OG Toxic Avenger, Troma's famous film that was the cult classic, and that led to this. If you want to hear an episode on that, we talk about this. So this is exciting because I was like, you're making a new one. You got Macon Blair, Peter Dinklage, and Elijah Wood involved. I'm in.
Well, also, Julia, we have to just shout it right now. I'm going to have to say it now that you got to fight with Toxie and another upcoming Lloyd Kaufman film. So you actually have been in the room with Toxie.
I have,
so to speak. So I'm very excited about that whenever that comes out.
Whenever it comes out. I did a cameo in the Troma. Lloyd Kaufman directed it. It's called Power of Positive Murder, and I got to go be in a bar fight scene in New Jersey. I got to be choked by Toxie with his mop. I mean, it's epic stuff. So I cannot wait for that to be on my reel. That's going to be killer diller.
I mean, I'm just going to lead with that all the time and just put that like in the top. Anytime there's a package where we're presenting you for something, like at like a film festival or something, that's going to be like at the top of it. Like I'll
make a business card like Patrick Bateman, and it'll be like Julia Marchesi choked by Toxie with his mop.
Correct. I think that honestly, we're done. Okay, that's the end of the episode, you guys. That Julia did it.
Well, you give that to the right people, and they are fucking impressed, and they should be, because wow,
Correct.
What an honor! What an
Correct.
honor!
Correct.
So I was so excited for this because Macon Blair's got kind of that punk attitude that I really love, that really seeps into his movies, which I think is super cool. And starting it out, Peter Dinklage, who I feel like is quite a serious actor. I don't get to see him be super silly a lot, and so this was both
super punk rock. Just that you
he is.
That, but he was like in a punk band when he was in high school. Like he's so emo. He's so that guy who's like, we're all black, and was like over there in the corner, like smizing and being brooding and like tortured artist boy, which me and Julia both have a thing for sure. A little tortured artist boy, like just like and he gives that energy. And then this movie, he finally, I think, gets to encapsulate that energy. I think this is like, sounds crazy. I'm like, this is the closest to his essence I feel like that we've gotten, in like a character. obviously minus Tiptoes, which I think he had fun doing, but
Mhm.
terrible movie. This is like a fun movie where he gets to play a character that's closest to like his like essence and energy of like mayhem and fun, and I'm really excited for that.
And I think they really were, I think this movie does a very good job of being something new while also paying completely, like, worshiping the original and making sure everybody knows that they're doing that, which I think is great, but this is just, like, kicked up 10,000 volts, so it's crazy insane editing and really, really fun naming. We have the ye old shithead district where we start out, like, there's just it's all on all cylinders, and I am here for it.
The map, when they show a map, Julia, and they give us the
Mhm.
topography of Tromaville and, like, what's happening, which we kinda get in the old-timey ones too, but I love that. It is like a send up of Tromaville, the actual, like, villages of Troma, right? And so, delightful. And you're also seeing all the little fun things of, like, cancer per capita and the signs that are there, like, talking about, like, how effed up this place is, and I'm just like, "Okay." There's no subtlety in a Troma film, which I appreciate. They're gonna let you
Yeah.
know what it's about, what we're fighting, who's bad, who's okay, let's go.
I mean, you call it St. Robans Village, and then you're like, ah, you got us right in there. So we know that the water is poison here, and there is a very big mega company that has been dumping waste into the water supply, headed by Kevin Bacon, Natch, also having a blast.
I love when Kevin Bacon when they wind him up and he goes off. Like, he's having that era of his career too now. Like, he got to have a lot of fun as a young person, but he's also has played a lot of very serious characters, and him just getting to be silly is always just the hairpiece, whatever he's got
Yeah,
going on in this movie,
that
like,
crazy toupee fall wig,
wow.
whatever it is. I get,
Wow, what a
I
pretty
think
fall.
we talk about a lot how you can tell like it's crazy, but like you can tell in a movie when actors are having a blast, and
Yes.
that bleeds through to the movie to make the movie more fun. And it's crazy that that's true, because but it is. And sometimes you can tell the actors are miserable, right? And you're like, ooh, like we watched Possession, I was like, ooh, those actors are
They were
fucking
not having a good
miserable.
time. They
They
were
were not like
not,
on set hanging out
mm-mm.
crafty, like none of that, it's like, ooh, you guys, it's great, but have a good time, have a good time.
Yeah, that was
That's what
like
I
them
think
crying in
filmmaking
their
should be.
trailer. You can see
Yeah.
them, like, absolutely going and crying in their trailers. These people you can be like, "Oh, they're hung out, they, like, went out after, they probably had, like, some big old dinners." Do you know what I mean, though?
Oh, I wanna
Like,
be
I imagine,
there.
like, that yeah, right? I can imagine that, like, even little Elijah Wood coming in, is like this, like, little just, oh, the other brother. Like the movie Twins, like, he's like the Danny DeVito to, like, the Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of, like,
Mhm.
vibe, like, between these guys, him and Kevin Bacon, and it's so great. So, anyway, we could talk how beautiful everybody is here, but his commercial, Kevin Bacon is the big bad, and he has a billboard, and, like, even on the billboard, it's like, "Oh, no." It just looks like those everything that's lifeless, soulless, like, fake influencer kind of like, "Become, be
Mhm.
you," and you're like, "Oh, but what does that mean? You want me to become a boring thing. You want me to become a homogenous thing. That's what they're
Yeah,
asking you to become."
of course. That's what capitalism wants, Terry. It wants everybody to be the
Ugh,
same.
hate
Spend all
it.
that money. So, Winston, who is played by Peter Dinklage, is a now a stepdad, and single dad to Wade, his son, who the mother had died, and they are living by themselves. And Jacob Tremblay being Wade. And I love, by the way, that all of the character names in the movie is like Toxie, the hero; Wade, the kid; JJ, the wild card; Toxie, the bod. Like there's all these, like every character has a parenthesis of what they're also called, which is delightful. And that my Macon
Yes.
Blaze character is called the Noisy Slob. So well done. That's a nice credit.
Sometimes you gotta be a noisy slob. All these credits are great, and I'm sure they probably were having fun, like, having those on there, and, like, if this was on their, like, dressing room doors, that's hilarious too. Dearly missed. Um, that's the mama.
Mhm.
So, we have this guy who's trying to be a vigilante, and he's, trying to take down this BTH, the Better Whatever Health, like, organization that, Kevin Bacon has. And so there's this guy, and this girl, we get introduced to one of our heroes, the wild card, JJ. And so she shows up with some files she's gotten from the big corporation. So she's been, a spy in there trying to help out because her mom has been killed by these products from this company, and it's just the ultimate big bad kind of company. Just it makes everything, and everything they make is absolutely sending poison down the river. It's poisoning their whole neighborhood, all the families there. Everyone's got some sort of form of cancer or some weird like mutation. Practically, it feels like if they've partaken in the products. So she gets the drive to this guy, but all of a sudden, these guys that look kind of like maybe a local band um, show up, and they look like a Slipknot like slash like insane clown posse, like kind of like you know meets fake war, like kind of like mashup. Like it's like definitely
They're
inspired by all
monster
those kind of
core,
bands.
man.
They are exactly all the I've just named a bunch of monster core bands. They are monster
Yeah.
core, and so they show up to take the girl down, but they end up shooting this guy who goes through a beautiful death scene. It's one of the best deaths, I think, to start the movie. I was like, oh, we're gonna start here. Yes, I know what we're getting into because this death scene. Nah, I did nothing at all. You didn't hit me. You didn't. I don't feel it. And they're like literally shooting this guy, and he keeps popping back up, and it's so great.
And his name is Melford, so nice shout out there. And so then we meet Winston goes to the doctor. He gets a phone call. He works at the plant as a hygiene expert,
A
and he
janitor,
gets
man.
goes to see his doctor, and doctor does not have good news. But doctor is drowned out by many construction tools for the entire time. We can't hear anything. Brilliant.
So we don't actually know what's really wrong with him, like officially, because it's like kind of like want like of like Peanuts gang kind of like thing. But it's also really delightful. He's really bad at what he does. Like he gives him like information, like okay, basically you have 6 months to a year unless you take this meds, and then you'll probably be fine. But he says, yeah, I'm sure your meds are covered under your health plan. Not that health care in America is bad. Just kidding, it's bad. And so we get that he's on a platinum plan, but you would assume the platinum plan has everything up into platinum, including the gold stuff. But no, when he calls the insurance lady, he gets sent through the ringer. That a possible thing of representative, please, a human. I want to talk to a human, not this. Okay, put me to a human, not a. And he's putting put through the phone tree of like press 2, press 3, all that stuff. To finally talk to somebody that tells him basically that his insurance is a piece of shit and he can't use it for what he needs.
And to think about having to make that insurance phone call right after you got that news, like he's crying during it. He's like in a panic state, but he doesn't want to let his son know, stepson know, because then he's going to be an orphan, and so he's trying to see if like he can fix it. And he sees on the television that Kevin Bacon's going to be having a big fancy dinner, and he's like, "Well, I can just pop by, but first, Wade's
Gonna
got to have a
crash the gala.
recital at
Yes.
school."
Well, an audition for the recital first, and
Uh-huh.
it's gonna go not great. And so he's doing not a dance piece. What is it called again? What does he call it? I can't
Property
remember.
movement piece.
Thank you. Property movement piece, which is like a devised like performance art that he's put together that does incorporate some dance and some other things too. It's very cute, but he freezes when he gets on stage to try to get into this show, and it just doesn't go well. And
Have you ever choked on stage?
yeah, which is
Really?
why I run karaoke. That's literally my origin story. It's my villain origin story
I
of
don't know
like
it. Please tell
why.
me.
When I was in high school, the show that actually got me into UCLA because I talked about the pajama game with my dear Gary Gardner, the professor, rest in peace, who was my interview person to get to UCLA. I played the role that was he played back in the day opposite him, like we would have played opposite each other in another lifetime. But I was this lady Mabel, and I was literally in the middle of the show, and I had to do my big moment, and I was like, I started the song and I couldn't remember the next line. I just fully just stared into the lights and just like fully fell out, which is why like people are like, why do you I was like, I love karaoke because I can still give a performance, but I know I have the words in front of me. And so when people get all like, you should know this stuff. I'm like, I know people with earwigs, I know people with stuff. I didn't realize I had such severe anxiety till like 20 years later or 25 years later, I got diagnosed and I was like, oh, that was me having a full panic attack. Almost every time I've been on stage in my life, I've flop sweat. I have all the makings of an anxiety attack, which is probably why I don't do
Wow.
a lot of stage shows anymore. People are like, "You don't do stage anymore." I'm like, "No, not unless I have to, or not unless I like know what it is or it's improv, because I can't when I have to do something that's scripted. I
Mm,
have a really really hard time."
interesting.
Yeah,
Okay. I didn't know that.
yeah.
Fun facts about my bestie.
Yeah, so I'm fine on set, like, you can give me the lines, especially if I can go right before, and especially if you allow me to, like, do improv or bookends and stuff like that. I'm great in movies, don't worry, people, but it's is that part of the thing of, like, being able to have another take too, like,
Yeah.
because it's on stage, it's like, that's it, so yeah.
Right.
I don't know how I have an MFA, guys. I don't know how I made it. I don't know how I did all of that.
You
That was,
pushed
like,
through
in
all
high
that
school, and I
fear.
still did a bachelor's, and I still did an MFA. I still did a ton of shows and still did
Yeah.
so much, but, like, every time, low grade, massive anxiety attack almost before every show.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're the
So
greatest.
that's how it happens. When you're on
Okay.
stage, I was like I felt that kid. I was like, "Yep." You gotta turn around and go walk the fuck off. And then but the fact that there's cameras now, when I was in high school, we did not have freaking
Yeah.
phones everywhere that had cameras and surveillance, like, everywhere you go. And so this poor kid gets TikToked and, like, goes viral for eating shit on stage, and it's just like, oh, poor little and Jacob Tremblay, of course, is so good at being a sad kid. We already know that, like, from his beginning of his career. He's been, playing sad kids, and he's so good at it, so this is perfect.
He is. It's so much fun. So we do meet Fritz. This is Elijah Wood as the Renfield to Kevin Bacon's guy. And not is he going to be wonderfully rewarded? No,
No,
but it doesn't turn out so bad for him. He's better than most Renfields, but he is also head of the band, and they are
he's their manager. Yeah, he's
a
the band
band
manager.
slash assassin group. And you have this like, and it's one of those things like guys wearing clothes that they think make them look super fucking cool, and you look at him, you're like, no, man, that's you look like the biggest dork.
It's giving, like, like Limp Bizkit cover band. That's what I would call it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean, though? Like, it's like, they're not like I feel like Limp Bizkit's cooler than these guys, and these guys just are like they wanna be they wish, and so they, yeah. He
I
summons
mean,
the nuts.
he does, but I just want to, Wade and Winston do get to have a really cute moment where he like comes home, he knows that he's choked, and Winston does his little like puts on the tutu and like tries to cheer him up and do some like stupid dance moves, and it's like, he's trying his best. He doesn't know, like he didn't expect to have a kid by himself, and like it's very cute.
He knows he's bad at being a dad, and but he is doing his best, and he that's the tutu goes back to, like, there's a picture with his mom and, like, them, they all had them on kind of, like, as, like, a fun thing, so it's, like, a little trying to bring back, like, the energy of his, like and the spirit of his mom, to their conversation and to try to cheer him up, but it only, I think, adds fuel to, like, the sadness in this moment because it's just like, oh, it's so bittersweet.
And of course, we have our OG Toxie who also has his iconic tutu, so we got to get that going.
Yes.
So at first, we think that his break into this fancy dinner with Kevin Bacon goes well. We're like, oh, it's going to go pretty well. Kevin Bacon, by the way, his character is in cahoots with some mobsters who are getting real itchy because he owes them a bunch of money. So he has that pressure going on one side. When he meets Winston, Winston's like, hey, man, I just like, can you help me with my insurance? I'm dying. I have a kid. And he's like, yeah, no problem. We'll take care of it. And he's like, what? What? You rule. Like he just really, he really believes it. And you're like, no, man, it's not
What
true.
you don't see is the other side, and you haven't seen the other side of the conversations tonight that have been taking place where the mobster shook down our Kevin Bacon guy, and, like, we also don't see that, his, wingwoman, Kevin Bacon's wingwoman lady who looks strangely like an Ivana Trump. Like, she straight up looks like in that vein, the blonde hair,
Oh,
the
wow.
hairdo.
Her name, actress's name, Kissy, who plays Kissy, her name is Julia Davis. That is my grandmother's name.
Ooh,
Julia
because 'cause you're
Davis. The Julia
Julia's
I'm naming
namesake, yeah. Look at
That's her
that.
exact name. Crazy.
Oh, look at that. Small world, Julia. It's all connected. It's all the wheels of Ka come
That's
together,
right.
Julia. I'll look for the beam or whatever. Okay. So but she, is said to go take care of him, and she's like walks him down, he's like, "Oh, yes." She's like, "Oh, yeah." And he's like, "Oh, you're gonna get me a Bellini?" He's like thinking he's gonna get it something nice, like, they're gonna give him a little bit of food and some champagne and celebrate. But no, they're taking him to the stairwell exit and basically sending him out the door to the alleyway. And then he hears them laugh up the top of the stairs, basically like those rich people on the Titanic or vibes of just like, ha, 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 ha. Oh, that silly man. He thinks he's going to get help from us. Oh, ha, ha, ha. Full villain behavior. And he hears it. And so he's disheartened as he goes home, knowing that he is going to have to, you know, not be there for his kids. So he gets desperate and he decides to maybe break in to, uh, the, uh, the old place of business and steal from the safe, from the vault.
Yep. So his plan is that he is going to dip his mop into some of the toxic sludge in the barrels that just hang out at the place where he works, and then use that as his weapon so that he can break into the vault, steal a bunch of money from his friend. And he's like, "Hey man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I gotta." He's like, "Yeah, I understand." And of course, Elijah Wood gets to, when he hears of it, gets to summon the nuts. Having too much fun
Yes,
with
as
that.
head of security and manager of the team, he does some of the nuts, and we do everyone has fun with that. That's the whole point of having the name, and it's
Yeah,
nuts with the Z, you guys, of course, because it's
of course.
stupid. So we summon the nuts show up, and they've given a task. He keeps showing them a picture of their mark, and they're just idiots, and they keep missing their mark because they're idiots, and so everything they always kill somebody, but it's not usually the person they're supposed to be killing, so
Can
they
I
keep
just say, if I was to ever have a band of assassins under my wing, I would make sure they were not idiots. What it would drive you? Why? Why would you have this? I understand
you need
they're
them to
like
be
lethal
idiots
and
enough.
psychotic,
Yeah, you
but
have to have them to be idiots enough to do your bidding without any question, and these guys are them, right? Like,
yeah. But if
that's
they're going to
why they're
constantly fuck
chosen.
up, why bother? Like, just get anyway.
Every now and again, they figure it out. Every now and again,
Yeah.
they get to what they need to get to, and so they get close here. They're running JJ at the same time, though, is trying to get more samples and evidence because she needs one more, like, piece of evidence to go with the digital evidence. She needs some physical evidence, to match up so that she can take down the BTH corporation. And so, of course, her mission gets intermingled with, our dear little, Peter Dinklage's mission at the same time. So they're both running away from the nuts at the same time now. And it looks like they're working together all of a sudden because they're both running at the same time.
Hmm. So, but of course, it's all going to go terribly wrong, because his the big bag of cash on fire immediately. You're like, oh, you were a millionaire for about 30 seconds, and then it was gone. Oh, that's so sad.
And then he's gonna get thrown because he's gonna get caught because he can't get over the fence the same way JJ can because he's a little guy and he can't get up over the thing, and he's, like, also just, like, stuck by these nuts, and so he's gonna get thrown into a vat of toxic ooze and goos, which they think is gonna kill him, but it only
No,
makes him fucking stronger.
we only are going to get a cool psychedelic sequence where Toxie is born, and he is going to come back bigger, stronger, meaner. He's going to run into the real estate sleaze richies who are trying to force his neighbor Daisy to sell her shop. And they had the beginning, he had seen it and did nothing. And now he's not going to do that anymore. Now he's got something to say.
Yeah, he had saved her cat, literally. I was like, "Oh, we have a literal save the cat scene in the movie,
They
so you
say that.
know."
Did you see
Yeah,
they're like, oh, someone's like, oh, he really did save the cat. There is like
yeah.
someone in the off screen. Amazing.
Which was my favorite. I was like, "That's hilarious," and also, like, shout out. They're like, "This is proper filmmaking." They're letting you know that he's the hero by the fact that he saves the cat. And so, yes, but now he's gonna actually do more to save her. So, yeah, the Khaki Gang, which I love these guys. So this is like each gang has their own little vibe and flavor of just, like, awfulness, and it's so funny. The Khaki Gang is specifically of that type of corporate Chad vibe, I would call it, like, kind of, if you're gonna put that
They're
in, like, an archetype.
they're like the Richies from Pretty Pink meets the
Yes,
Socs from
yes,
Outsiders, like that
yes.
group.
Yeah, and so they've been shaking down, they've been doing, gentrifying the neighborhood, trying to make everything, white and gray and beige and boring, and buying up property, so they'd shaken down Daisy, and yeah, so Toxie gets to stop this guy by doing a beautiful arm pull.
Yeah, he's gonna have a moment where he climbs up to see if Wade's okay, and he starts to go in, but of course Wade freaks out because he looks monstrous, and he falls onto the guy's car. And when he comes to shoot him, he has a bullet push out of him, and he now has blue blood, so he's kind of invincible. And he does not know his own strength, and so he pulls the guy's arm right off.
Yeah, and then we get a beautiful spray, and I was like, "Yes, this is what we came for. Thanks, Troma." Disgusting. And this guy, you think he's gonna bleed out, but he doesn't fully die. He is still gonna be okay, and they try to put his arm back on, but they're gonna put it back on all fucked up, and that's also great. Um, and so people are wondering what happened, but some people, of course, because it's modern day and there's cameras like we talked about, some people catch him on film and they see this guy and they're like, oh my gosh, who is this? And so he's getting a little reputation, but he runs out and has to get away from there. Um,
Where's he gotta
because
go? He's gotta go to the Yonder spooky woods, of course.
where else are you gonna go hide? after the mob, 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 and they make a mob because of course it's like that's how you when you go to the woods and when a monster goes to the woods, it's usually because a
Yeah.
mob is following them, right?
Mhm,
It's like Beauty
mhm.
and the Beast and all those kind of things. So it's got
And, David
breakfast the
Yao,
next
who
day. Yeah.
yeah, who, he's also in I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore. He's terrific in that. He's the wise hobo in this and is just a madman living in the woods, insane. Like, he
Who
doesn't
says
really
he's a
need to be in
doctor?
this movie, but he is in this movie. He's like his sensei, teaching him how to fight, and
It's Yoda.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Like a
Like, it
disgusting drunk, living in the woods, never been showered Yoda.
yeah, I mean, that's, like, part of, like you always get that weird old wise wizard when you're on your hero's journey, right? And he's
Mhm.
absolutely that, and speaks strange things and doesn't always make sense. Um, yeah.
But he does get his mop back, and he's going to teach him how to use his mop
A
correctly as a
formidable
weapon.
item, a
That's right.
formidable item, mhm.
That's right. It is. So Wade sees his dad on TV, calls the news hotline, but let's go to Miss Meat, where we're
But
gonna
the
have
hotline is called the pervert tip line when he
yeah.
calls. It's not
Mhm,
just you're like, you think you're
mhm.
calling with news and like, "Pervert tip line." I was like, "Oh, this is such a trauma movie right here." Anyway,
And
yes, so go on to Miss
I'm
Me. Yeah.
delighted that they because I feel like the fast food restaurant sequence in Toxic Avenger original one, like, lives in my brain, and I don't know why, but, like, that specific scene, and it looks almost exactly the same, and I was like, "Thank you for doing that. I really
'Cause it's
appreciate it."
incredible, and they used, like, the same, like, old McDonald's clearly that they, were able to, like, throw their little Miss Meat thing on top of because that roof is so iconic of the shape of it and everything too,
Mhm.
and it's definitely, and so I love this modernization of the fact that Miss Meat used to be Mr. Meat, and people are mad. So it's like these guys that are definitely, stand-ins for the Proud Boys. They're called the Nasty Boys. I was like, yeah, the same vibe where they're racist and anti-female, and like I know Julia doesn't know about the Manosphere podcasting universe, but they're Manosphere guys. And they're Western alpha scapegoating and all that kind of stuff. Anti, the media, Anglo media tyranny. They're talking about all this stuff. It's like, oh God, they're disgusting. So these are the guys that are holding up the Miss Meat because it used to be Mr. Meat, and they're mad about the rebrand, which I just that couldn't be more timely. They made this movie, like, 2 years ago, and that's still, like, literally they just had a problem this last year when they rebranded Cracker Barrel and people lost their minds. Same vibe.
It's
So
true.
silly.
Yeah, it is silly. So there is a hostage situation going on. There are police and news cameras there, but Toxie, he's gonna come to the rescue. They ask him who he is. He says, "Nobody special, just some dude with a mop." And if you're waiting for that gore fest, it has arrived, ladies and gentlemen.
Just like the OG, scene like this, absolutely. This was the one I remember watching that first one and be like, "What?" And this one is more faster and more furious and more blood. I'll real in this quick succession, because we
Mhm.
gotta get through all this. It's so because there's gonna be more blood and more blood in this movie. Um, yeah.
But when he comes out, one of the witnesses says he's the hero. He's the saved us. So now the Toxic Avenger name has started to take hold. He doesn't know he's got a hero. But they ask him what now. He had said in the beginning to Wade, sometimes you shouldn't do anything. You should do nothing. And now he says sometimes you have to do something. So that's when Wade's like, it's totally him.
He
I
sees
know.
it on the news and he hears
Yeah.
his voice and he's saying the exact same words, but the opposite, sentiment. So he's like, he's like, "Winston?"
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so but its problem is he's not the only one who realizes it's Winston because on his, and through the toxic ooze, he had the BTH, his name tag kind of like thing or whatever his little part of his like uniform like melted onto him, into his like body, like form a little bit too. So you could see the little side. So people are were on the news or like zooming in and like looking and like doing their investigative reporting and Charlie Day stringing trying to figure out who this guy is, and so they're figuring it out too. So the Khaki Gang also figures this out, and they've been looking for him as well. So now they're gonna try to go get him as well.
JJ does when he had run in she had run into Winston at the factory. She has his name tag, so she goes to see Wade and says they have to team up because she knows that they're coming for him. And they talk about her sister get dying by Zamboni. But then there's mom. Mom dies of cancer. Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. So the Nuts have a little tracker dart gun that they put onto them, and so they know where they're going and their GPS to find them. And she's going to in the struggle ensuing struggle going to get shot. And what's going to happen?
Well, Toxie is gonna, take these guys out like he knows how to do. Takes out the Khaki Gang, especially because they're coming after Wade, and he wants to go try to save him. But of course, Wade has been used as bait. He doesn't really know the full extent of it yet because Fritz is coming, and he's the one who would partly, knew about this gang too and was going to grab Wade. But he ends up taking JJ out to the woods to his weird little sensei guy. Um, and because the guy had said he was a doctor, the guy wasn't a doctor. He lied. So he's just
'Cause
a
he's like,
crazy.
"You're a doctor." He's like, "Wait, why would you think I'm a doctor?" He's like, "'Cause you told me you were." He's
Yeah,
"Oh, no, no."
a Ralph. He's a crazy Ralph in the woods is what he was.
Mhm.
And so, Toxie's like, "Okay, well, I will do my best." And he realizes he has this amazing blue blood. He uses the blood to like, ooze into her skin and save her. And he brings her back. So she's, survives her shooting thanks to Toxie. So he really is a hero now. But they have yeah. But Wade gets kidnapped by Fritz in the meantime. So he's gotta go figure out where he's at, and they find out they're probably gonna take him most likely to Chüdhaven.
Chüdhaven. And I
The
do like that
compound where head of BTH lives, yeah.
yeah, and Wade says one thing that really strikes through to Fritz, where he's like, "What would your family do if you got kidnapped? Wouldn't you want to like come after them? Would some come after you?" And he realizes, no, no one would come after him. And there's that moment of realization. Like Renfields very, very rarely get that moment of crystallization where they see where their real role is. And this is that moment. I think it's a nice moment. It's in a very raucous movie. It's a nice subtle moment that I think works well for the character.
Well, yeah, and Elijah's gotta make that happen. You know what
Of
I mean, though?
course.
Like, it's like king of, like, missions and heartfelt moments, like, I think, Frodo can do that shit. Like, it's
I think
like
you're right.
do you know what I mean? Like, if we're gonna have that in this, like, very insane movie, I think that's what makes it so nice is, like, these grounded moments, that we get, like, between, like, Peter Dinklage, absolutely playing this, like, so serious because he's such a serious actor. He's so able to, like, drop in and just be, like, so sensitive and so sweet even though he's like way in over his head most of the time, but he's still got to do it anyway. I think that's the beauty of this Avenger, right? Is that he's the epitome of courage because courage is not the absence of fear, it's having fear and just doing it anyway. And that's
Mhm.
what he's, getting to do through this whole movie. Um, but we're gonna get a music festival sidebar because we got to try to get back. JJ needs to get more information, and the Nutz are still going after these guys, and they gotta kind of take care of these nuts. These nuts. Okay, sorry. I had to get that in there. No
Thank
problem.
you. Thank you.
Sometimes I got to get the nuts in there.
So JJ ends up crossing the wires to her music, and TOXIC Avenger suddenly comes there and is going to sing a very punk rock song about what idiots you all are, and they're all being hosed and like your snow job, and they're poisoning you, and now he really is getting everybody's attention and support.
Yeah, and there of course, people are filming this too, and this is gonna end up on the news, but I also love, the deaths that we get here with this band, and this guy has a tattoo, the main guy, Berserker, the lead singer of the band, who's, like, got the Insane Clown Posse kind of face paint and stuff like that. His neck tattoo is B2B, which is, like, business to business, which I love that this is, like, who gets take down. It's the layers of, like, he's giving. Julia's like, "What?"
I don't
B2B
know
is,
what
like,
that means.
business to business sales. It's like literally like stupid corporate speak. And I like that each one of them kind of represents a different like
Mm,
level of that. The layers that he went in there, if you're just watching it, you can just enjoy it and not know any of that. But if you are at work in corporate world at all, the symbolism of every single one of these characters is actually chef's kiss layers. Um, yeah, he's gonna take this band out pretty hard
mhm.
with between him and his mop and his mad strength. If
And
they get
it
taken out.
finally goes too far for JJ when one of the band members is just a tiny mutant baby in a big man body, and she starts like dry heaving. She's like, "It's too far. It's too far."
Well, it was the guy who had a really cool mask, and you were like, "Oh, Chickenhead," and he's big, like, he was the bulkiest of them and, like, the brute strength, and he's the one who actually threw Toxie, I think, into the ooze also. So it's, like, realizing, like, "Oh, it was just a baby who did this, or is he a baby or is he a human? But he's a man with a baby head," and it's like, oof, it's brutal, and you get that this is what it's they were raised obviously here because they probably drank this water, and that's why they
Mhm,
look like that.
mhm. Alright, so let's get over to, the mansion,
Chüdhaven.
Chüdhaven, which is next to the Swanage, kind of the coolest name for a like a lair, hideout, rich guy palace.
Well, it's also like a shout out to Chud, which
Of
I love,
course.
and then, but also the way it's spelled is with an umlaut over the U, and so it's like Chüdhaven, kinda thing, like, it's supposed to be fancy, but you're like, even your fancy name is so stupid, but
Mhm.
I do love too. So yeah, so they get on the property and
Wind up chained up in the dungeon. And so the method of escape unusual, but Toxie does know that his pee is now corrosive and rots things away. So what can he can get out of those chains? What he's got is get his dick out. So
yeah,
hey,
he's gotta do a little bit of I don't know if they're golden, I don't know what color his pee-pee is. It's like toxic pee-pee.
oof.
So he's gotta do his toxic pee-pee shower to break free from his chains. He does it and he gets them both, set free so they can go, figure out where Wade is and get them all out of there. But in the meantime, they've extracted a bunch of his blood before he able to escape, and they've been using it to create experiments because our Kevin Bacon head of BTH, Bob, wants to figure out the properties of what made Toxie so strong, and he wants that for himself. He's like, "Get rid of the bad stuff, like, clean it up, basically, and find out the main ingredient." But they're realizing that it's probably partly because of, like, whatever his, like, makeup, his DNA, like, of Winston was before is also part of it. So if you have bad DNA, you're gonna have probably a really bad reaction versus, like, the positive traits. So there's something to be said for that too.
And you know it's going to be something nasty. You just don't know what. And so he eventually turns into kind of a horned monster, furry Krampus looking thing,
He
I
looks like
guess.
Krampus, yeah, he
Yeah.
fully looks like Krampus, and he has, like, weird, like he gets those teeth that are like, "Argh," like a full, I don't know, Muppet. He looks like a Muppet, kind of, looks like
Hmm.
like that big, like not animal, the bigger guy, the big guy.
Hmm.
Um, and he gets horns, the whole thing, but his girl, Julia, is like, "You didn't leave any for me." It's like very Romeo and Juliet, where she's like, "There's no poison for me." So she
Hmm.
drinks the last little drop that's in there, and she gets her own little, like, Harley Quinn kind of, like, face makeup and turn all of a sudden where she looks like she's got blue blood veins off popping out of her face, and goes bananas and requires the team to really help him, but also they are, get in full vengeance mode.
So if you've ever dreamed of a denouement set in a toxic waste dump with people just throwing garbage at each other, this is for you.
Yeah, if you wanna see somebody throw old toilet commodes, in each other's faces and, disgustingness, this is absolutely it.
Mhm.
And she our girl Julia is, like, basically she's almost, like, rated up, she's on a mission, because her man, is rejecting the serum and not taking it in the way they need it to be. And they try to break free and, oof, it looks like they're gonna go try to go get Wade before they get down there, and it looks like the shed that Wade is in explodes.
But,
Mhm.
Fritz has been touched in a way. He's going to help them. Of course, wouldn't let Wade die. So they're having this kind of like big thing at the end, and then like everybody's just kind of covered in Kevin Bacon gore by the end of it. It just that's what we want. We want to see everybody covered in gore.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're fighting for everything because, we feel like they've lost each one of these guys thinks they've lost everything at this point, um, but they haven't. So we find out that Wade is still alive, he runs up, in the midst of this fight, and that emboldens little Winston, our Toxie, to finish what he needs to finish.
So pretty much take down all the bad guys, and he's okay. He's going to be at the hospital, looking okay. Lloyd Kaufman's going to be there. Uh,
Little gotta have a little cameo from Uncle Lloyd. Oh, so cute.
mhm, of course.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna have a heartwarming ending where Wade and the Toxic Avenger are
Well,
going to
don't
hug,
forget
and he also
yeah.
learns that he is now healthy.
Well, as far as I mean, he looks crazy, but he doesn't the brain thing is his brain is better now. But also he had helped the FBI because it turns out there one of the ladies who was in the Ms. Meat sequence, who was in the restaurant was actually a part of the FBI trying to take down BTH as well. And the fact that he helped, even though he killed a bunch of people along the way, which they're like, we're just going to sweep that under the rug for you, sir, because you actually helped us get to our goal, and we know what he did to you as well, so we're just gonna move on. So he gets absolved, from for his crimes that he's, committed out there. He's got a whole bunch of fans waiting, excited. So it's like all these people he saved along the way that are there to cheer him on. I love that they're all wearing the outfits that they were wearing whenever he saved them. I'm
Mhm.
obsessed with that for Troma. Whenever it's like, just so you know that was the kid from the restaurant. He's still gonna be wearing his uniform with his little hat, saying, "Thanks so much, Toxie. Appreciate you, man."
Well, it's like when you're in a play and you play a couple of characters and you gotta come out in the big one, someone's like, "Oh, I was this one too, guys, like, I was
And
all
they
of
bring the
the."
hat for
Yeah.
their curtain call
Uh-huh. Like,
of
I was
like
all these things.
all the things you play.
Mhm.
That part. Oh my god, that's hilarious. It's so that. And
And
so
we get to
yeah.
see, Wade kill his property movement piece, which, he's having a good time. He's got a top hat, he's listening to some ABC. It's
He's
so
got like a
cute.
bird dance. He's got like a whole thing. It's almost like a little bit of a retelling of like what kind of happened a little bit, like in a way. Because we have our little toxic bird. It's like, that they have that's been our little mascot throughout the movie, and part of the credits and stuff to our little
Mhm.
toxic chicken. And our little weird doctor out in the woods is gonna eat the eggs from the bird we thought was going extinct. And that's how you
Mhm.
know he's really an idiot.
Mhm.
We're like, he's all excited seeing the birds that they're warming the eggs, and he's like, "Yay!" You're like, "Oh, it's not extinct anymore." And then you're like, "Oh, buddy,
Wow. Uh,
well,
you're also gonna get some grilled cheese action during the credits, very delightful, and then
like a
a ti
cooking show,
yeah,
yeah,
it's just
because he
making some
burnt
grilled
it
cheese.
earlier,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then there is a title card at the end, which I wrote down, which is great.
yes,
Toxie will return in Too Toxic to Avenger sequel. Greenlight provisional $1 billion domestic box office. Tell your friends. It will be Toxie versus Dracula versus the unicorn horn in space, presented in dildo vision, where allowed by law. Crypto only. Delicious. Delightful. So funny.
uh,
A
God
joy
bless
from start to
them.
finish, this one.
Yes, God bless the Toxic Avenger and Troma and all the weirdos who love this shit. Um, Incredible work. How do you survive? You be nice. You be nice, and don't be an asshole. And stand up for what's right and for the
Mhm.
people that you love. That's how you
Yeah,
win.
that's not a bad one, right?
No, I love that. We love it. I think that's what I love about Troma, even at its goriest and weirdest, like the heart of it is like mostly like just like have a good time and be nice,
Mhm. Be
right?
just and fear not. That's what they say in
Yeah.
Rocky Horror. Okay,
Yeah.
let's do some gore facta.
Uh-huh.
1, not enough blood to fill a Dixie cup. 2, a puddle of blood. 3, enough blood to gross out the average viewer. 4, a bathtub of blood. And 5 is run for the barf bag. Of course, it's a 5. It's Troma. There's guts. There's blood. There's nastiness. It's delightful.
So much. So much. I mean, it's gushing. Gushers. Gushers of blood. Enjoy, kids. Get in there. Movie ratings: Chainsaws. 1, if you're desperate. 2, barely qualifies as a horror film. 3, seen worse, seen better. 4, not too shabby. And 5, fantasticorical. I think we love a Troma. This is a 5 for us, I think,
Yep,
for me.
me
Okay.
too. So all
Yeah,
around
all around
5.
5. Yeah.
Clocks on. I
We
knew I
love
was
you,
gonna love it.
Toxie.
I've been waiting for this movie for feels like forever. I'm so excited to get to talk
We
about it
were
and get
waiting
to
for
shout
it
it out. Yeah.
forever because it was supposed to come out and then it didn't, and we were waiting, and so I'm so glad. Ugh, what a
Agreed.
delight.
Again, Macon Blair, if you'd like to come talk to us, we would love to talk to you. This movie was so much fun. You did such a great job of bringing this legacy into 2025. Well
Yeah.
done.
So
If
it's
you'd like,
still relevant, unfortunately. It's like we're still seeing, people dumping stuff into the waters and like all that kind of stuff too. So I think, the time for Toxie is always now. As long as we have a mission to fight and keep our waterways and our, environment clean. I
yeah.
appreciate it.
So if you'd like to talk to us about this movie or any movie, you can find us online. We would love to talk to you on Twitter, Facebook, X, TikTok,
Instagram,
Instagram, all the
TikTok,
things. Um,
Patreon.
Yes, Patreon, Teespring, if you'd like to buy some merch. I'm also on 2 other podcasts. I do a podcast about Stephen King called The Losers Club, and I also do a podcast about Alejandro Jodorowsky called JodoWOWsky. So if you want to see me talk about some more movies-related stuff.
I do. And we also do a show, Horror X, with the George A. Romero Foundation the last Thursday of every month right here on YouTube if you're watching there. And that's on the GARF network, the George A. Romero Foundation network, the GARF. You can, hit us up. Like Julia said, let us know if you have any suggestions. We do take them. We've been building out our schedule for 2026 right now. It's been so much fun getting your suggestions and adding them through and looking at programming. So if there's something you're dying for us to cover, let us know. We'd love to touch it.
Oh my. And you have a good week, everybody. Be kind. Do a little
yeah.
property peace movement if you're feeling like it.
I'm gonna do a device movement. No,
Excellent.
no, no. Okay, thank you. All right, bye. That was so weird. I don't know what that was. I don't know.
Thank you for listening. Horror Movie Survival Guide is independently produced by Terry Gamble, Julia Marchesi, and Sierra Ryan. Hey, that's me. If you would like to support the show, find us on patreon.com/horror movie survival guide.